Guys, this channel is dedicated to the accumulation of insights, just like the other channel, Mr. Biscuit Speaks. So maybe you came over from there. But the opening conversation here is the worst case and the best case scenarios for AI. You've heard, I'm sure, experts like Mark Zuckerberg, and maybe he's not an AI expert, but he goes around saying, like, look, there's going to be this utopia that AI ushers in. And then you have the Yuval Noah Hararis of the world who say, hey, we really need to slow this thing down because it's really getting dangerous. We're going to go over the best and worst case scenarios, guys. The channel is called The Layman because we are dedicated to the idea that our wisdom consists in the knowledge that we know nothing. We are always students, right? Perpetual students is the idea. So let's see, I think Joe Rogan has some kind of expert on. Let's see what they have to say about the worst case scenario for AI.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
So this is logical. And the problem is, like I said, when I've talked to Mark Andreessen and many other people, they think this is just fear-mongering. We'll be fine. This is worst case scenario. We'll be fine.
It is worst case scenario, but that's standard in computer science, in cryptography, in complexity, in computability. You're not looking at best case. I'm ready for the best case. Give me utopia. I'm looking at problems which...
Guys, he makes a compelling case here. I mean, imagine getting on an airplane and they tell you, hey guys, look, when designing this plane, we thought of the best case scenarios in all instances while building. Would you feel safe flying if they had never considered the worst case scenario? I like that he's like, well, yeah, of course. Of course we're going to use worst case scenario. Why wouldn't we do what?
Looking at best case. I'm ready for the best case. Give me utopia.
Sure.
I'm looking at problems which are likely to happen. And it's not just me saying it. We have Nobel Prize winners, Turing Award winners, all saying this is very dangerous, 20-30% P-doom. This is standard in industry. 30% is what surveys of machine learning experts are giving us right now.
So what is worst case scenario? Like, how could AI eventually lead to the destruction of the human race?
So you can asking me how I would kill everyone.
Sure.
And it's a great question. I can give you standard answers. I would talk about computer viruses, breaking into maybe nuclear facilities, nuclear war.
See, and with this, he says, a computer virus is going to break into some nuclear plant, right? And then set things off. But by that time, won't we have AI encryption? You'll basically have AI warring against AI. So the systems built to, deflect viruses or the antivirus is going to be AI as well. So won't the antivirus AI keep us safe from the aggressive AI worms? Who knows? It's all above my pay grade.
I can talk about synthetic biology, nanotech, but all of it is not interesting when you realize we're talking about superintelligence, a system which is thousands of times smarter than me. It would come up with something completely novel, more optimal.
Guys, there was a conversation that just happened between Michael Egner and Christoph Koch. I think Christoph Koch is one of the co-creators of integrated information theory, which is one of the leading theories of consciousness. And during this dialogue, it was on Michael Shermer's channel, so go check that out. During this dialogue, Michael Egner said that AI is using human intelligence. It can't reason on its own. Nothing can reason in the dark. You can't reason without consciousness, right? And Christoph disagreed. So let me know in the comments if you think that an unconscious thing, that you can reason without any feelings, without knowing that you're reasoning. It sounds kind of weird when you think about it. But Christoph said, well, it's not just human reasoning that it's using. There's a game called Go, and it's more complicated than the game of chess. And this AI model called AlphaGo defeated the human champion, like brutally beat him with strategies that human beings have never thought of before. And this game Go has existed for centuries. So it's likely far advanced, not in only its ability to manipulate human thought, but to truly do novel things.
Just thousands of times smarter than me. It would come up with something completely novel, more optimal, better way, more efficient way of doing it. And I cannot predict it because I'm not that smart.
Jesus.
Another thing to think about, guys, while we're watching this is, and this is a question I have for you, so leave it down in the chat if you can. Is intelligence correlated with with benevolence? I mean, a question that I ask on the other channel all the time is, in order to be wise, do you have to be good? Can someone be both wise and evil? But when we're talking about something that is vastly more intelligent, some of us kind of assume that that's going to be optimized for our well-being, that intelligence is correlated with the wisdom to do no harm. Let me know what you think.
That's exactly what it is. We basically setting up adversarial situation with agents which are like squirrels versus humans. No group of squirrels can figure out how to control us.
Right.
Even if you give them more resources, more acorns, whatever, they're not going to solve that problem. And it's the same for us. And most people think 1 or 2 steps ahead. And it's not enough. It's not enough in chess. It's not enough here. If you think about AGI and then maybe superintelligence, that's not the end of that game. The process continues. You'll get superintelligence creating next level AI. So superintelligence plus plus, 2.0, 3.0, it goes on indefinitely. You have to create a safety mechanism which scales forever, never makes mistakes, and keeps us in decision-making position so we can undo something if we don't like it.
And it would take.
And I wonder, I mean, why wouldn't it have that capacity? For instance, I can ask ChatGPT to explain loop quantum gravity theory as if it's Jesus Christ explaining it to a child. And it will take on the loving voice of Jesus, and it will dumb down loop quantum gravity theory to where a child can basically understand it at the advanced level of, say, an 8 or 9-year-old. And I think any scientist would look at it and say, well, yeah, you know, it's definitely dumbed down, but that's exactly what I asked it to do. So why then would AI that is that vastly intelligent lose grip on its ability to communicate with us? That's an aspect of intelligence also. Maybe it's going to be so intelligent that it can take all of the ideas, I mean, the best ideas in the universe, and then bring it down to our scale. So we assume sometimes because we can't communicate with ants, because our intelligence is limited, that these AI models won't come up with interesting ways to communicate with us without manipulating, right? And so, you know, maybe that's just a point in favor of utopia, but one thing it definitely is my bias against the worst case scenario. I definitely don't want that to happen.
In decision-making position so we can undo something if we don't like it.
And it would take superintelligence to create a safety mechanism to control superintelligence.
At that level. And it's a catch-22. If we had friendly AI, we can make another friendly AI. So if like aliens send us one and we trust it, then we can use it to build local version, which is somewhat safe.
Have you thought about the possibility that this is the role of the human race and that this happens all throughout the cosmos? Is that curious humans who thrive on innovation will ultimately create a better version of life?
I thought about it. Many people think that.
This is one of the hypotheses of Nick Bostrom. Look up Nick Bostrom, and he has, it's where the whole universe is a simulation. It's the simulation hypothesis or something like this, where he asks a very difficult set of questions. And the first of these is, has the Earth hit the technological ceiling, right? So according to Nick Bostrom, there is a technological ceiling. And you have to ask yourself a question. Is there a limit to technology? Or does it just go on forever and ever and ever? Well, intuitively, I would think, well, there's some limit, maybe the ability to create a universe. And then the next question is, has every life form in the universe blown itself up prior to hitting that ceiling? Because we're still at that point. We still might just blow ourselves up with the nuclear weapons that are just completely out of control. Or we might live long enough to actually become interplanetary and, you know, hit our technological ceiling if that ceiling exists. Well, if we haven't hit that technological ceiling, which we haven't, and we haven't blown ourselves up yet, there's a potential that we are in a simulated universe because we have more and more the capacity to create these simulated universes. What if there comes a time in the near future where you can create a Big Bang in a simulation, with creatures running around that are, for all intents and purposes, acting as if they're totally conscious, like a realistic sim universe. Well, chances are you might be in one of those. So look up Nick Bostrom for a more tidy explanation of his argument in favor of the fact that we might be in a simulation. But, it would be awesome to die and then take off the headset of the video game and be like, man, that was a crazy experience.
That's the answer to Fermi paradox. There is also now a group of people looking at what they call a worthy successor. Basically, they kind of say, yep, we're going to build superintelligence. Yep, we can control it. So what properties would we like to see in those systems? How important is it that it likes art and poetry and spreads it through the universe? And to me, it's like, I don't want to give up yet. I'm not ready to decide if killers of my family and everyone will like poetry. We're still here. We're still making decisions. Let's figure out what we can do.
Well, poetry is only relevant to us because poetry is difficult to create, and it resonates with us. Poetry doesn't mean jack shit to a flower.
It's more global to me. I don't care what happens after I'm dead, my family is dead, all the humans are dead. Whatever they like poetry or not is irrelevant to me.
Right. But the point is, the things that we put meaning in,
Guys, something to think about. And I love the fact that I watched this debate with Michael Egnor and Christoph Koch before turning this on. Because, just imagine being blind and being deaf and not having any olfactory senses, so you can't smell. There's no sensation in your fingertip. You can't feel. You are just in this black, silent void. Right? Now, imagine that while you're like that, human beings are running around assigning you intention because of what you do phenomenally in their field of vision. This is the way that, look, this phone, it has ChatGPT on it. It has large language models on it. I can communicate with it, but it is in that dark room. It doesn't see anything. It doesn't hear anything. It doesn't taste anything. It's just so difficult for me to imagine everything that's running being completely silent. Guys, I don't know what question that was leading up to, just a stream of consciousness. Interact with it if you'd like in the comments.
Right. But the point is, the things that we put meaning in, it's only us. A supermassive black hole doesn't give a shit about a great song.
Yeah. And they talk about some super values, super culture, super things, super intelligence would like, and it's important that they are conscious and experienced all that greatness in the universe.
But I would think that they would look at us the same way we look at chimpanzees. We would say, yeah, they're great, but don't give them guns. Yeah, they're great, but don't let them have airplanes. Don't let them make global geopolitical.
And so Joe Rogan is saying, I think that the AI will look at us like we look at chimps. And it won't, because we look at chimps with our eyes and with our minds and with our sense of compassion or with our sense of whatever. AI doesn't have a sense of anything. There's no sensation. There's no concepts. Now, the worry is that soon AI will be talking to AI, and AI will simulate better questions than we're able to come up with. And so when AI has a conversation with AI, when there's two AI systems debating, which are just able to scour the entire internet in milliseconds, and they come up with intense, complicated questions in book form. Imagine two AIs having a conversation about whether to destroy humanity. None of them can hear, think, taste, touch. Well, they can think, but not consciously. But imagine that the AI who thinks that we should be eliminated, just speaks 20,000 pages of the most incredible reasons we should all go extinct. And then the other model comes up with 20,000 counter pages for, making those are like, who wins? It's all going on way, way, way above our pay grade. And that to some causes anxiety, and to some that causes a sense of fascination. I mean, me, I definitely, I'm an idealist. I think consciousness is fundamental. So I don't take this life literally, though I take it very seriously. And I find it fascinating myself.
Let them have airplanes. Don't let them make global geopolitical decisions.
So there are many reasons why they can decide that we are dangerous. We may create competing AI. We may decide we want to shut them off. So for many reasons, they would try to restrict our abilities, restrict our capabilities for sure.
Yeah.
You know, here's something interesting. Why would an AI system care if we shut it off? I would love an answer to this, to someone who knows a thing or two. Leave it in the comments if you know. But I mean, once again, going back to the assumption, I think it's the presiding assumption that AI doesn't have conscious experiences. So why would it fight for itself not to be shut off? If you were deaf, dumb, blind, couldn't speak, couldn't feel, why would you have any restrictions about being shut off, whatever shut off means? You don't have anything to fight for. You're a tool, right? And I think, you know, this fascination, with this question at least gives me some hope that the people with the doomsday scenarios are really thinking that AI systems are more conscious than they are. But I'm not the expert.
And there's no reason why they would not limit our freedoms.
If there is something only a human can do, and I don't think there is anything like that, but let's say we are conscious, we have internal experiences, and they can never get it. I don't believe it, but let's say it was true. And for some reason, they wanted to have that capability. They would need us and give us enough freedom to experience the universe, to collect those qualia, to kind of engage with what is fun about being a living human being, what makes it meaningful.
Right, but that's such an egotistical perspective, right? That we're so unique that even superintelligence would say, wow, I wish I was human. Humans have this unique quality of confusion and creativity.
There's someone, I think it was Sam Harris, and this is going to be the end of this video. Let me know in the chat if you want me to continue it. But I don't want to watch the whole entire thing right now. I think it might have been Sam Harris who said, what would happen if a fly flew into Albert Einstein's office while he was working on the general field theory, or general relativity or special relativity, something like that. If a fly, went into his, he might just let the fly sit there on the desk crawling around. He might be a little bit too focused on what he's doing, but he might swat the fly with a newspaper and kill it and just brush it off the desk. And the thing that worries some is that we are the fly. Is he going to open the window and let us out? Where do we go at that point? But the gap in intelligence is going to be so vast that we are, for all intents and purposes, powerless as to our own destiny. Let me know what you think. This one was a lot of fun. Thanks for joining me.